Wynton Kelly was an American jazz pianist who lived from 1931 to 1971 and is most well known for being in Miles Davis' band for a while. And in particular, he featured on Kind of Blue, which is one of the most famous jazz albums ever. Shortly after that album, he formed his own trio, and he had quite a bit of success as a band leader. He has a fairly big discography, which is fairly normal for jazz musicians. He has 16 albums as leader, so that's not that huge. But it is, I counted 129 as sideman, and some of the names that were leading for the projects that he was signed on for, those names include Miles Davis, of course, Dinah Washington, Lester Young, Wayne Shorter, Sonny Rollins, Art Pepper, Lee Morgan, Wes Montgomery, Hank Mobley, Charles Mingus, Billie Holiday, Dizzy Gillespie, John Coltrane, and Cannonball Adderley. Hi, my name's Dan, and here we are again. This is probably my first listen to this album. Sometimes I'm not so sure with jazz albums, especially fairly kind of mainstream jazz albums, because there was a time when I listened to quite a lot but didn't really pay a huge attention as to who I was listening to. I came across various bits. Anyway, so it might be my first listen. So it's jazz, and there's a trio here of piano, bass, and drums. And Wynton Kelly is on the piano, fairly obviously. But there are various guests on here, which are actually present through, I think, most of the album. So there's a cornet, a flute, and a tenor sax. And the one name out of those three that I knew was the cornet, which is played by Nat Adderley, who is the brother of Cannonball Adderley, who is somewhat better known than his brother. This is pretty much what I think jazz should be. I think this is kind of pretty, I'm not sure mainstream is the right word, but kind of the main current of jazz, especially at this kind of time. And so it has the standard form of the book-ended instrumental, where you have some form of tune at the start, and then a series of improvisations over the same usually the same chord structure as the tune was, and then finishing off with the tune again. And so you get a lot of solos in the middle, and you've got a definable structure, and the rhythm section are mostly following that. But there's lots of kind of whiffling style instrumental stuff in between. It's got a nice feel to it. I'm not sure I'd say all jazz has got as much of I want to say jazzy feel. There's kind of jazzy, bluesy feel, and it is deliberately in the kind of blues end of jazz here, and I think that's good. So the flute at times bizarrely made me feel like it was sounding like 1960s TV spy shows. I think jazz with flute often does that for me. The playing is nice. The piano is particularly nice, I would say, very deft and handled it with poise and clear. And I think it might be the blues leaning that makes it something that I particularly like in the jazz world. So it's good. It's accessible. I feel like my level of understanding of jazz, which isn't huge, is enough that I can understand it and make sense of it musically. So it's as far as jazz albums go, this was well up my street. So I like it, and I'd love you to tell me what you think of this album. So please talk to me through the comments box. That's it from me for now.